And I love Crystal for not doing this politically correct BS and flat out calling Sutton what she is. Crazy. Good old fashioned crazy. This is Dee, and I am back with recaps of episodes 3 and 4 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 11. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. Well guys, I am back, and I am catching up on the last 2 weeks of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, episodes 3 and 4. Fortunately, it seems I didn't miss much because these 2 episodes can be summed up in the ongoing beef between Sutton and Crystal. So I'm going to get into all of that, but before I do, please, you know the drill. Do not forget to subscribe, you guys. Subscribe and turn on those notifications so you are aware whenever I upload a new video just like this one. Okay, guys, so I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so episode 3 begins with a continuation of the race discussion between Sutton and Crystal, and Sutton's statement that she doesn't see color and Crystal calling her out on it. Sutton says that she sees racism as a virus like a COVID. But the crazy thing is, during these, 18 months of COVID, we have really come together as a society, as a country, to combat this. It's been hundreds of years of racism, and it seems almost as bad as it ever was. So we've done a lot better with the COVID virus, than we have the racism virus, unfortunately. Later on in the episode, Crystal tells us about an incident that occurred when she was about 10 years old, where her father was getting gas, and these men came up to him and told him to get out of the country, that he's stealing all of our resources, all of our money. And he was so scared, he ran back in the car and drove off. And Crystal was in the car. He never said anything to her, but that was an example of the sort of racism that she has experienced firsthand. And Crystal was very emotional about that. So, for me, Sutton is just out of touch because these things don't affect her. And it's almost like, to her, it seems worse to be called a racist than to experience racism, which is clearly not the case. The next day, the ladies go on a rail bike tour on some railroad tracks. It looks really, really cool. I mean, I would totally do that. But of course, Sutton is the Debbie Downer. She says she's afraid. She has anxiety over it. I mean, she doesn't want them to go too fast. I mean, this season, Sutton has been a real pain in the ass. And I liked her, but I mean, I don't know what's going on with her this season, but she's coming a bit unhinged. After the tour, on their ride back to the B&B, Sutton and Crystal have a conversation about their fathers and how both of their fathers have passed away. Crystal's father died of Alzheimer's, and, it was a slow death where they sort of watched him fade away, which is very sad. But Sutton shared that her father had, mental illness. He'd struggled with mental illness for years, and he actually committed suicide. And, she got very emotional about it. And she also sort of hinted at a not so great relationship with her mother, whom she described as a piece of work. They get back and leave it to good old Kathy Hilton for some comic relief. They get back and Kathy tells them that she accidentally put eardrops in her eyes because she thought they were eye drops. I mean, Kathy is blind as a bat, but as I've said previously, I like her energy. She's not so serious. She's just a cool addition to this cast. Later, the ladies gathered together, and Garcelle and Sutton and Erica are all talking, and Garcelle makes the comment that, Sutton is like the princess with the P. And that means a princess, she had the mattress and there was a pea under it, and she was so sensitive and so touchy, she could feel the pea under her mattress. And Garcelle says that the complete opposite with Erica, that Erica is so laid back and easygoing because she doesn't give a F. And Erica says, like, I let people be them. One of the things she loves about Tom is that he lets her be her. Kyle, Kathy, and Dorit join the ladies, and Garcelle began speaking about Paris Hilton, who is Kathy's daughter. And one of the things she says is that how Paris used to drive her crazy, how she was always on her cell phone. And she also mentioned that Paris's like sort of baby voice is gone, and how when she appeared as a guest on The Real, she had this like much deeper voice that is, complete opposite of the voice she sort of had throughout her whole sort of career. And again, she mentioned that Paris used to drive her crazy when she saw her at parties because she was always on her phone. And Kyle and Kathy let her know that the phone was just almost like a prop because Paris is actually shy. And by pretending to be on her phone all the time, she didn't have to deal with people like, the way shy people are. In her confessional, Kyle made the comment that it's a good thing that she and Garcelle sort of worked out their issues. Otherwise, she would have taken exception to that comment, and basically don't judge a book by its cover. The ladies go to dinner, and once again, Sutton brings up the racism topic. And this, for a woman who claims to be uncomfortable with the subject, she continues to bring it up. Sutton continues to play the victim as a Southern woman who feels that she always has to defend herself against being seen as a racist. Dorit was confused by this because she didn't think, this was the first time she heard that people just generally assume people from the South are racist. Dorit said that Sutton has a very Southern accent, whereas Erica, who is also from the South, does not. And Dorit also mentioned that could be because Erica has spent a lot of time in New York and Los Angeles, and she is, used to more multicultural situations. And at that point, Sutton gets defensive with Dorit, saying that she has been in multicultural worlds too. Dorit then tells Sutton that she did not mean any offense by that, everyone tells Sutton that Dorit was not taking a shot at her and that she's being just, overly sensitive. And there was no need to be defensive. Next comes what turns into a very controversial prank. Kathy Hilton is a prankster. And so she decided to punk the girls by ordering 2 glasses of water in martini glasses with olives, pretending that they were in fact vodka martinis when they were water. And she was going to just like knock them back like she was drinking straight vodka, and she was basically trying to get the girls to actually order straight vodka and knock them back and sort of keep up with her, although she was drinking water. Dorit was in on Kathy's prank, but Dorit then decided to prank Kathy by getting Lisa Rinna and Erica in on the joke and having them order water with the olives in it to have Kathy think that they were actually drinking the vodka and that her prank was actually working, although they were pranking her in return. It was a really cute game, very funny, but of course, Sutton turned this into a big drama. So they finish dinner and get back on the bus, and Sutton is talking about like the text and how she felt left out. She didn't know what was going on. So Crystal kind of kicked her and said, hey, don't say anything because we don't want Kathy to know about this prank. And of course, Sutton acts like the damsel in distress. I can't believe she kicked me. I have thin ankles or some bullshit. Sutton is upset because she feels like the women were texting about her, and Garcelle, who is friends with Sutton, asked the ladies if they were in fact doing so, and they of course said no. I mean, I just can't with Sutton and her fragility, and that's not nice, and everything upsets her. Somebody like that, I could never be friends with somebody like that. Someone you always have to walk on eggshells with, someone you always have to pacify, because they are just so incredibly sensitive over nothing, so incredibly paranoid. And last but not least, the ladies get back to the Airbnb, and Sutton has another breakdown. She's with Kyle. Crystal goes to sleep, and she's out, in the living room with Kyle, and Kyle, having a drink. Kyle trying to, pacify her. Sutton sees Crystal's coat and decides to take it to her. Crystal was in the bedroom. Sutton goes to Crystal's door, knock, and just walks right in, and Crystal was naked. Now, Sutton is supposed to be the queen of manners, of Southern hospitality, of good breeding, etc., etc. Manners 101 says, when you knock on somebody's door, you wait to be invited in. You don't just walk right in, which she did. And Crystal was undressed, and she felt very, very sort of violated by that. So on to episode 4. So the next morning, Erica asks Crystal if she's okay, and Erica states that she feels as if Sutton is taking out whatever issue she's having on Crystal. All the ladies are talking about Sutton's behavior and basically how she's acting like a whack job. But Lisa Rinna takes it upon herself to go check on Sutton. And Sutton is in there with this face roller, like literally rolling it across her face, because she says it helps her with her anxiety. Garcelle and Crystal go out for coffee, and they talk about, Garcelle's conversations with Kyle and Crystal's situation with Sutton. And Garcelle asks her how is she doing, and of course the subject of the race and I don't see color came up. And there's a cut to Sutton back at the house, where she feels like she doesn't have to apologize to Crystal, even though Kyle said she should. And they cut back to Garcelle and Crystal, where Crystal says, I don't need an apology. Erica mentions that despite COVID, Tom is still working at the firm, and how much he loves being an attorney, and that's basically his favorite place to be. The ladies then go boating. They're having a great time, but Sutton is off to herself, and the ladies ask her, well, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. Why are you asking me that? And Sutton once again wants to speak to Crystal alone, and she brings up the kick on the bus, the innocent kick on the bus, and tells Crystal how jarring that was to her. And I love Crystal for not doing this politically correct BS and flat out calling Sutton what she is. Crazy. Good old-fashioned crazy. Sutton says she was actually going to leave that morning, but she had her crazy ass face roller to help her with her anxiety and her crying. Therefore, she decided to stay. She attributed her out of control, irrational, erratic behavior on the transition from her old home to her new home, the one she's still building, in that whole process. They get back to the house, and later that evening, the ladies go out for dinner, and everybody is dressed to the nines. Everyone looked great, including Sutton, except for her I don't know if I can call them shoes. They are slippers. These are $2,000 a pair, gigantic brown slippers. Then for some reason, Garcelle asked, who here has had a nose job? I mean, why? I don't know. But obviously Kyle has had one, and although she denies it, and everyone thinks that Dorit has had one too, and I agree. I mean, the before and after pictures are, pretty evident. Lisa Rinna then makes this little mini speech about having enjoyed her relationships with these ladies and learning a lot about herself, both good and bad. And Garcelle chimes in that, yeah, she agrees with the bad. And that comment is in reference to how Lisa treated Denise Richards last season. Lisa then proceeds to share this bizarre story that Harry, her husband, told her about having a friend he went to dinner with. The friend went out and raped some girl, ended up going to prison. The other guys that were friends with him went to see him in prison, but Harry wouldn't go see the guy. And I guess the whole point of this conversation was, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. But to compare that with the situation with Denise Richards was just like, no, girl, are you kidding me? Not even close. Lisa and Garcelle then go into a little bit more depth about Denise Richards and how Lisa treated her. And Lisa alluded to the fact that there's more to the story than we know, that she has more information on Denise than we know, which, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why Lisa was so determined to get down to the bottom of Denise Richards, whether or not she slept with, Brandi Glanville. I don't understand it. It's none of her business. Why did she ruin a 20-year friendship over nothing, over Brandi Glanville? It's crazy. And Lisa did admit that she went too far. Lisa says she wanted Denise to be more open and honest with the group, and that is what she was trying to achieve, but she went about it the wrong way. And at a certain point, she just should have let it go. My camera shut off at this point, but the last scene of this episode is the ladies having returned home, receiving a text from Erica letting them know that she had filed for divorce from Tom. And the ladies being absolutely shocked and blindsided because they had spent all this time with Erica just 4 days prior, and she did not mention a thing. So next week will be amazing. I am so looking forward to episode 5, which begins the Erica Tom journey throughout this divorce and their financial troubles. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, thumbs it up, guys. A thumbs it up, and do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. So until next time, bye.